this is not a misfortune with the SCS League semifinal number 2 between Maugan Ra and Vanady. I'm going to reintroduce the players. On the right-hand side, we have Maugan Ra spawning as the blue UEF commander, starting with 2 air factories. And his opponent on the left-hand side, we have Vanady, who's escaped down here below, starting with 1 UEF naval factory, of course. So both of these players have done pretty well in the league season. Vanady has taken 3rd spot, although he was 2nd spot for the most of the season. The spot that Maugan Ra has taken from him after he placed 2nd. And of course, we do have the semifinal number 1 coming to you on Sunday, right after the game replays tournament. There's lots of stuff coming your way in the near future as the first scout gets picked off by Maugan Ra. Believe Maugan Ra has seen this first boat, so he will know what's going to be happening. This is definitely a good idea for, or a good situation right here, right now for Vanady. With these mastodons coming out, they're going to be able to start picking off these mass extractors, hopefully, and we'll see how Maugan Ra decides to respond. You know, I'm actually not too sure that he did scout this, because his plane is not really, he's not really responding to this. Looks like Maugan Ra is going to attempt to win this fight as quickly as possible on the air side, and then probably focus some bombers, although he does pause his air factories and is bringing his ACU down below here. Unfortunately, of course, I think these boats, these mastodons, will be there much sooner than he can get that naval factory out. So looking for that air, but Vanady, what a trick shot, has completely paused his land production, which is definitely a great idea. And a very, very good fake. Just amazing. Meanwhile, he's pushing out with his ACU down the center. Wonderful plan here by Vanady. You can say that he has certainly prepared this map well. And this is exactly why I like this map, is because naval becomes such a big possibility, and Aeon is not necessarily the best on this map. Of course, now we see bombers coming out for Maugan Ra, but now it's a little bit too late. Vanady is going to get a lot of free shots on this mass extractors, and probably it can probably reach even that. Now the bombers are coming out, but Vanady has so much mass banked up that he will not be able to, or he will be able to get anti-air stations, installations pretty easily, which I imagine he's going to plop one down here right away, or maybe a land factory will be good with a shield and an anti-air factory, followed by MMLs. That's always a great follow-up to something like this. Against an air player that has overcommitted to wasps especially, that is just a marvelous follow-up to this. Meanwhile, Vanady has already taken out 1 mass extractor and targeting down this air factory, which is not necessarily the best of targets here. I think I would have preferred to take out some of these mass extractors first, which is what it looks like he's going to be doing. Maugan Ra is going to try and sneak in a naval factory up here to the top right. And yeah, it looks like Vanady resumes his production, being very, very adventurous with this engineer. I think if Maugan Ra realizes this, it's going to make quick work of that expansion. He should really be expanding more centrally. Although I guess right now that's where Maugan Ra's planes are, so that's going to be quite difficult for him to do that anywhere. Of course, forfeiting air, but he does have a massive advantage in this game. Do not get me wrong. There's gunships coming out, and that is probably the most scariest follow-up that Vanady has to deal with. Although he will probably scout this out, although those gunships are not currently moving, so he will not probably be able to tell that these are gunships. But that is definitely a very dangerous follow-up here that will that could prove very, very deadly. I think Vanady needs to get a scout out if he can, and try to scout out these gunships coming out. Maugan Ra, of course, finding that engineer on the bottom. He was trying to hide beneath that mountain, but that failed. And I did mention it, but that was when I was muted, but the overlay is incorrect. I'm like all over the place today. I apologize. It's technically still during work time for me. I'm taking my lunch break to cast this match for you live. Of course, there's MMLs coming out from Vanady. Good follow-up, but I'm really becoming afraid for these gunships right here. Now, of course, he can probably see it on his radar, and let's see what he's going to decide to do here. This isn't that many gunships at this point, but it is certainly scary if he doesn't have anti-air. So Vanady is going to plop down another land factory. I don't think he's seen those yet. That naval factory was able to produce one submarine here. And a pretty good follow-up from Vanady. He's using those boats, constantly moving them, which is, of course, how he was able to find this naval factory. So there's a very possible follow-up. And there's now a shield on that factory. That anti-air turret is barely able to reach these gunships. Where's Maugan Ra's air? He really should be having it here. Oh, no, there was a Mastodon produced for Maugan Ra. I completely missed that. These gunships are probably most likely going to go down as there's another shield, and now Vanady knows that they are there for sure. And I'm afraid for this Mastodon from Maugan Ra now. That is a crazy follow-up there. Of course, there's no radar coverage that can reach that far for Vanady, so he didn't know about this Mastodon over here, so it'll be interesting to see how he responds. And this game is just taking a second turn by the looks of it. Because now, even though Vanady was able to get these quick mass extractors, the game has sort of stabilized. Maugan Ra's Mastodons are getting slowly picked off by the submarines, so Maugan Ra will be able to regain that naval advantage. Or not regain, or gain it for the first time. These gunships are going to pick off that second Mastodon. There is, of course, two more right here preventing Maugan Ra from re-expanding, but there has been significant economical damage done to Vanady. However, Vanady has not expanded off of this at all. That is the one fault with this build. Unfortunately, there is no research station that Vanady has plopped down. I'm not sure he was too efficient with his start, but probably that mass has gone to those Mastodons. And that's probably why he wasn't able to build a whole lot of stuff. But now he's managing to squeeze out 3 land factories. Of course, that mass extractor is going to go down. They are vetted mass extractors by this point, so that is going to be quite painful. These Mastodons are finally going to be ended by that air force from Maugan Ra. And this is still very, very close. I think this is going to be decided in the next minute or so. But it does not look good for Vanady anymore. He's going to try to pick off those gunships, but at this point, those gunships are looking very, very scary. Once they get shields, that is just going to be an unstoppable force, and I'm afraid Vanady just hasn't done enough damage here, unfortunately. Wonderful reaction from Maugan Ra to stay calm and collected in this game. This Mastodon is going to be much more deadly against Vanady's mass extractors here than Vanady was early game, because those were vetted mass extractors, and Vanady is going to try and push this out for the last hurrah. Gonna try and pick off that mass extractor. Not a bad idea, but again, there is a good amount of gunships here, right, for our friend in blue. Nope, backing off. Does not have those shields yet, so he does have to be a little bit careful, but that mass extractor is going to go down. Meanwhile, 2 mass extractors have gone down for Vanady, and I'm not sure if he's even recognizing this. His second engineer is right here. Even submarines have made their way over here, starting to pick off that radar. And this is just looking dire from Vanady at this point. Next match, of course, is going to be on Etched Desert, another fairly air-focused map. So it'll be interesting because that was actually Vanady's pick. So that's going to be his map. So let's see if he will be able to turn us around. Of course, this game is not over, but these P-shields are a little too late. They're not going to do much against these gunships here, especially when they're so far behind the main army. All they have to do, I think they have shields now. It's so hard to tell because of the boosters. They sometimes make them glow so crazily. attempting to micro best he can. Of course, Maugan Ra is focusing down those anti-air units, and they're just going down at record speeds, unfortunately, here. And Vanity's base is in ruins. Meanwhile, looks like that mass extractor is going to get picked off here, and there's just nothing that Vanady can do. There's shields now on those gunships for sure, and that is most likely going to be game one. What a wonderful tactic from Vanady. Unfortunately, he just came a little bit short. Maugan Ra was able to come up with a great comeback and a wonderful game. You know, I'm going to put this on YouTube, but I'm kind of sad that the intro was so messed up. I apologize for that once again. Of course, we're going to go to game two, like I said, on Etched Desert. This one is going to be Vanity's pick, so let's see if he can pull it out. I will be right back in just a moment. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Game 2 between Maugan Ra and Vanady on Etched Desert. The game has already started, and let me introduce the players. On the left-hand side are Teal UEF commanders, who started with 1 air factory and some eco. We have AA Vanady. And his opponent on the right-hand side, about to get scouted, starting with 2 air factories, are Blue Cybern commander, Maugan Ra. Maugan Ra is up 1-0, and this will be a very interesting match since this was Vanity's pick. As UEF on an air map such as this, it is very crucial to win air very quickly. So that is what Vanady will most likely aim to do. However, there is no second factory for him, and that ACU was idle for a second, so I'm a little concerned again about Vanity's follow-up. It doesn't seem like his starting build is super optimized, but his game plan is certainly very, very good. There's a scout coming out for Maugan Ra on the bottom hand side. Gonna try to get as much information as possible, and we already see the spamming machine that is the UEF faction already able to get out 5, is that 6? No, 5 wasps to Maugan Ra's 3 off of 2 freaking faction, or 2 factories, and he had him quicker too. Vanady has not recognized that there's a scout coming in yet. This scout might actually be able to get away unscathed. Don't remember if Vanity's plane got picked off here, but yeah, Maugan Ra's will certainly get picked off here. Radar gonna get built here in the front by the engineer, doing a great job, like I mentioned. I highlighted this many times. I think you do have to push with your ACU on this map to the center to make the most out of it and to get good radar coverage, which is of course important, crucially important on any map, I feel like, but especially on this one. It is an interesting shape to this map, and interesting attack patterns, and as we've seen through the league, there can be a lot of developments off to the sides here, as we see in this game as well, and those result in a lot of different battlegrounds that start happening. Of course, Etched Desert and Emerald Crater both share this, I think. So it is very, very interesting map, and we'll see where Vanady takes it, because as UEF you do have quite a bit of follow-ups. Maugan Ra also has 1 research station, which makes me wonder again, is what is the starting build from Vanady? Not reclaiming that wreck there. I think he could have on his ACU on the way to the front. Would have helped him just a tiny amount. Looks like there is an additional engineer that was built for Maugan Ra, which is always a good idea on this map as well, because of these huge distances for expansion. And let's do a quick air count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. About 14 or 15 planes for Vanady. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 planes for Maugan Ra. And that's with Vanity's air factories being built just a fraction later than Maugan's. So make what you want of that, but we have seen that this map is fairly favored away from UEF. So we shall see. The longer this game goes, I think the more likely that the Cybern can pull something off. But of course, what always can throw a wrench in an air fight is the UEF's ability to go gunships, and those AC-1000s are just absolutely bonkers. Although Maugan Ra, I think, is going to be prepared to deal with this, especially because they're on equal air factories so far, and he does have that research station that's going to help him in the long run. I don't know why I keep seeing double planes. I think this screen might need to be refreshed for me because I'm seeing quite a bit of a trail on units. Vanady expanding here. Looks like he was struggling with some energy, although I'm not quite sure how. He does have quite a bit of expansions. Believe he's ahead? No, he's not ahead because Maugan Ra has chosen to expand with 3 engineers against Vanady's 2. So if he is ahead, he's not ahead by too much. That scout, does that scout make it out? No, that was just a scout down here. I think this scout was probably picked off down here. So let's quickly see. There's nice radars being developed. I think Maugan Ra saved on building a radar here. However, if Vanady built his factory over here, TML might have been able to take that out on the factory, maybe? Question mark? To be tested, I think. Might be just out of range, but would have been close nevertheless. So I think, no, Vanady, I think, is definitely in the lead here. Adding on a 4th air factory here already. Most likely going to be looking for that air win pretty soon here because he is outnumbering Maugan's forces quite a bit now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So about 20 on his side, and it's too hard to count here. But if I had to guess, maybe around 27 planes for Vanady. A scout coming out from Maugan Ra. These games do take quite a bit to set up, but exciting things do happen, such as this engineer tango over here. We will see who is not paying attention here. Looks like Maugan Ra decides to back off. That scout was picked off. And all 4 factories are now producing from Vanady. And Maugan Ra has to realize that he's at least down 1 air factory at this point. So we will see what his choice of follow-up will be. There's an anti-air station being built here, although there isn't really a need for it at this moment because there are only wasps, and I think Maugan Ra already saw that there was only wasps. Engineer coming back for another dance. Let's see if Vanady is paying attention. Vanady is paying attention. Look at this. This is the game. And the tango begins. Isn't it wonderful when both players know what the fuck is going on in the game? Just certainly amazing. Oh, Vanady has the advantage now. See? This is what I'm talking about. Oh, man. Gonna try to build there, but gotta be careful. Alright, we'll keep an eye on that. But that can go on forever, basically. At least the devs balance that part of the game where the engineer can actually escape, unless it's a sacrifice capture, in which case it becomes quite a bit difficult. We see land coming out from Maugan Ra, most likely going to be adapters here, and if I had to guess, there's either going to be artillery follow-up to this or a megalith follow-up, which can be quite deadly if Vanady does not win air here. Really does need to scout, which is what he's doing. It's almost like he's reading my mind here. Engineer finally backs off from Maugan Ra. And Vanady is going to see... Actually, he's not going to see this. Oh, no, he's going to see the land unit. So he will probably be able to tell that this is a land follow-up. So let's see how he responds here. Still wasps in production, but we'll probably have to check in about a minute because he'll probably not cancel any wasps right away. And more engineers, I think, being built. 1, 2, 3, 4 total for Maugan Ra now. Vanady still has his 2. Gonna attempt to capture this engineer one more time here on the top. Maugan Ra is paying attention. Both of these players are on top of their shit. And no shenanigans are going to be happening this game. And MML's coming out. Not bad. Not bad. And that's where it becomes dangerous to build your units off to this ledge right here. It's just such a risky proposition. While you do want to expand here, I think you do want to generally back him up just a little bit in case this stuff does end up happening, because that does give MMLs a good chance to... It looks like there's a self-destruct on that engineer there. Probably wasn't microing it well enough, but there's now another engineer coming out. So let's see where this tech is going to go. There's 2 research stations being built / completed for Vanady now. This engineer is trying to hide over here, probably keeping an eye out on this base. There's 4 air factories for Maugan Ra. Meanwhile, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, no, not only, I guess. 7. And let's see, there really should be bombers coming out at this point. Now that Vanady has seen that follow-up. But it looks like, nope, still only wasps, which makes me a little bit more concerned at this point. There's adapters now coming out for Maugan Ra as well. And this is going to be a deadly push, especially considering where these factories are positioned. Maugan Ra, of course, doing a great job expanding as well. I'm not sure. Oh, no, this is actually a great idea. I thought he was building an air factory down here. That's going to, if gone unnoticed, there's a radar down here, so he will probably notice this. And Vanady should probably transition his air, maybe. If Maugan Ra is not paying attention to that bottom side, that might just be off his screen if he's not fully zoomed out, which is a great plan by Vanady, I gotta say. That's just a good place to build a factory. I think if I had my pick, I would have probably put it even farther down, because really you're not really gaining anything from putting it here. In fact, it might even be bombed easier by planes. Maybe even behind this rock right here would have been a little bit better. But if it's built, that's going to be pretty good for Vanady. He's going to be able to attack this base directly, and that's going to open up a direct line of path to kind of the middle of Maugan Ra's base here. There's another scout coming in. And of course, at this point, you have to be very vigilant of your opponent's air. That's where this radar becomes crucial here. And this backup radar is actually pretty good at this point. Becomes so crucial. Looks like Maugan Ra is pulling his air back. Vanady, I disagree with all your planes being there, because you could have easily intercepted this had they been in a better position here. But yeah, that's where this radar becomes very useful, because you can respond to stuff like that. But unfortunately, and this engineer is gonna be annihilated by all that air. Vanady is probably going to be looking to engage here, but it looks like there's quite a bit of stars on these units. There's no shields on either side. I imagine both of them are saving their research, and Maugan Ra just can't go back in there, because that's going to be a very quick engage. Does not want to fight over that mobile or anti-air station. And mass extractors are beginning to fall for Maugan Ra. So that's the first significant kill, I want to say, of this game. And Vanady, again, it takes a lead here in this game. And he does have the advantage right now. Fully advantage until this land hits about here. He does have the advantage. And I'm not sure I would be revealing my land at this point either. So now Maugan Ra most definitely knows that there's land follow-up to this. This base is going to get picked off, so that's not really an issue. And these mobile missile launchers, if they're spread properly, will probably be able to take care of this expansion here. Nice! Vanady managed to capture that engineer at the top. Maugan Ra was not paying attention that time. Able to capture that engineer, and probably going to proceed to capture this mass extractor. Maugan Ra is probably busy microing down here, and jump jets might be an issue here for Vanady. And that's actually a very strong follow-up. Yep, jump jets. Vanady, respond with your planes! Ah, ha, ha. Oh my god, what a wonderful move by Maugan Ra. I was like, jump jets would be really good here. Oh my goodness, and now that opens up this whole entire base for Maugan Ra, and that's going to be devastating. Vanady, you have to win air. Quick. Oh my goodness. Vanady is forced to research cannons on his tech structures, but unfortunately it's not going to be enough against mobile missile launchers. That's just a crazy amount. Vanady, are you going to engage over all those adapters? That's going to be very, very bad for you. Manages to get a good engage, though. Does not split his tanks. That's unfortunate. Yep. Maugan Ra pulling back to his adapters. However, Vanady did do quite a bit of damage as a result of him being behind the airplanes, and we do see a really good engagement for Vanady. But Maugan Ra might be able to pull back. Maugan Ra's fighters are just melting away here despite all those adapters, and you just see the strength of UEF's air. Although Maugan Ra does still have a significant amount out on the field. There's just so many adapters, but that's not going to do the trick. Vanady, what are you doing? Finish off that air. There we go. Nice pull, and re-engage right as Maugan Ra is going to back away. That's going to win him the air. AC1K is coming out, but I'm now honestly afraid for how quickly these are going to be there, because there's a lot of land now, and that was a significant portion of Vanady's mass. However, Vanady is doing quite a bit of damage himself. This small, you know, cost-wise, this trade, essentially, is what it was much better for Vanady because he's using so few units here. He won air, and he's using very few units. However, you cannot neglect the power of adapters. Adapters, when they are spammed enough, are very, very dangerous. Or not dangerous necessarily, they're like a passive dangerous. And unfortunately, I think the only chance that Vanady has is to pick off these slow down these units. Oh my god, Vanady is capturing all of this. That is amazing. Yeah, Vanady should really split his forces and cover one of these so that they don't go as fast. Looks like these normal missile launchers need to keep moving. Please don't break my heart, guys. Keep microing. There's a lot of stuff going on right now, so I don't blame them at all. This is just a crazy game, I think, developed into just an absolute insanity of a match here, as it is very, very close here. But I'm afraid that these ACs will ultimately be the deciding factor here. Trading-wise, they are fairly equal. Vanady doing a great job rebuilding engineers and rebuilding his expansion here. Meanwhile, Maugan Ra cannot do so. Yet that bottom land factory was finally taken out, so that's no longer a threat. But there's still one lonely MML here working on that mass extractor. Vanady, again, doing such a beautiful game plan here and executing it very well. The only thing I would say is probably these gantries are far too close together, and it would be very good to still have your engineer down here. Maybe if he managed to build one to send down there to build just a couple more, you know, of these gantries down here so that they're not, because Maugan Ra cannot be in all of these spaces at once. This is looking very good for Vanady, but you cannot, again, underestimate the power of adapters. If he gets enough adapters here, if that megalith starts to come out, or if Maugan Ra enters that turtle mode, that is going to be quite a bit difficult. Of course, Maugan Ra realizes that he has no hopes for air anymore, and he is going to pause his air factories. I would have loved to see a little bit more ground firing forces from Maugan Ra, because yeah, while these MMLs are great at this point, I think you will need to do a little bit more. Are these adapters holding fire? Or is this gunship just doing a fucking amazing job at microing away from these units? That is incredible. Good job, Vanady. And right as I say that, oh, these were holding fire, but I don't know what the point is for holding fire there. Another fly-in by Maugan Ra, and I just don't understand why these wasps aren't covering these armies. They should really be ready to respond, and that would have been even better from Vanady. So many gunships being built right now. Of course, these adapters cannot make their way out of there, and they'll probably die. And this is all going to hinge on how Maugan Ra decides to follow up with this. He's building a lot of research stations. There probably will be a unit detonate here. Yep, unit detonate. Very nicely done by Maugan Ra. Both of these players just doing a ridiculous job. This is one of the best games that I've seen so far. Yes, I do agree. He does have to ACU snipe. I think Vanady... I think he can deal with these units first. He definitely is going to have enough of these gunships. Probably has to, yeah, half-bake this, definitely. No, it's probably going to get picked off by everything, unfortunately. Yeah, these gunships are reaching a critical mass here. There's fighters coming out for Maugan Ra again, but really, I mean, or maybe these are just leftover fighters. Who knows? And that land is just melting away. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of times in these high-pressure situations, players can get a little bit overwhelmed and play super cautiously. Like, he does not, I think, need to be taking out every single unit here. He can, at this point, I think, snipe fairly confidently. He does have to watch out for a little bit of structure detonation. Of course, gunships are a little bit prone to that. But overall, this is looking great for Vanady at this point. You know, he did such a great job just harassing everywhere. I think every single battlefield, which is very rare in this game, I think, it was won by Vanady here. He has won the bottom. He has won the top. Both of these top and bottom moves were extremely sneaky moves that were just absolutely beautifully executed. And while he could have done a little bit better in the center, I think ultimately he did win the center battleground as well. He just could have done a little bit better in countering these fly-ins, but I think ultimately this is looking very, very strong. There's no way all of this air is going to die, and I think we're going to go to Game 3 on open palms. And, you know, if you haven't seen the game between Hope and Unknown, or the match between Hope and Unknown in Season 1 semifinals, I really urge you to go and check that out. But I think this game was just absolutely amazing. And Maugan Ra has gone down here, and that is going to take us to Game 3 on open palms. Vanady brings it right back. Let's see if he can take it all the way in Game 3. I will be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to the Serpents League Season 2, Game 3 between Vanady and Maugan Ra. Maugan Ra has decided to switch colors on me right before we launch, so his color is not going to be accurate once again. However, the factions are, so let's go ahead and introduce our players. On the bottom, opening up with air factories, or one air factory, rather. I got excited, sorry. That last match was just absolutely bonkers. We have our blue Aeon Commander, Maugan Ra, and his opponent on the top, starting with the standard 3-factory rush. We have our teal Cybern Commander, AA Vanady, who managed to pull out a crazy win in the last match, tying it up. Of course, this will be a decider game to see who goes to play in the final, and I am quite excited. There's a follow-up by Maugan Ra, building an land factory. Of course, seeing that 3-fac opening, that's just going to be crazy difficult to follow up or counter without a land factory. But Vanady, unfortunately, this type of opening really forces you to push at this point, and these planes are just going to take out this bot. Looks like he's going to self-destruct that, and or control K that rather, and going to pull back for the time being. I imagine there's going to be adapters coming out. Maugan Ra does not pause his air production, doing a good job expanding, and there is a first adapter coming off the line. I am a bit worried about the follow-up to this. When you're starting with a 3-fact rush on this map, it is a little bit harder to follow up, especially if your opponent opens up with a little bit more of an economic build than you. And so Vanady really has to make something work here. This push out is probably going to do something, but I will tell you this. I played Maugan Ra quite a bit of times on this map with a 3-fac push. When he opens up with something other than land, he's extremely good at catching up, just covering all the bases around the map. It is truly miraculous what this guy can do. There's a reason why he's #1 in the SCS league table, is because this guy knows what he's doing. And curiously, he picked Cyber in this, or sorry, no, he's Aeon. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. I apologize. I'm completely mind blown by what is happening in this series. And looks like that first adapter is going to get its shot-offs. And let's see, Maugan Ra has not built his second land factory yet. It's being delayed by all these forces moving through its build pattern. Vanady is going to try to make something work. He does outnumber these tanks, but not by enough. Fortunately, does not split his adapters, and that is going to force him to either engage or pull back. Nice split, but unfortunately these tanks are now going to have a more favorable engagement here. Does a good job microing. Let's see what's going on in the middle. There's nothing going on in the middle as of yet. Is doing a decent enough job here, taking out these tanks, but they're no longer the problem here. That engineer is going to get picked off. That's going to be a nice pickup. And I would keep going into the base, Vanady. I don't know why you're pulling back. Those units are going to die. Don't hold me wrong. And at this point, Maugan Ra is going to grab a third factory, and at this point, it really becomes so difficult to do anything off of a 3-fact push. Vanady has to pause his factories. This is not looking good. I hate to be that type of caster that calls games before they're actually over, but unfortunately, with a 3-fact opening like that, you know, it might be the meta on most maps, but I feel like here it's so difficult. If your opponent does literally anything other than, well, not literally anything, but a lot of things beat it. Of course, Vanady is doing a good enough job expanding here, so this game will continue. Don't get me wrong, but Maugan Ra does have an economy, a very good economy at this point. He's going to keep expanding. The one bonus that Vanady did have is maybe slowing it down a bit, was picking off that engineer over here. But I don't think that's going to do enough in the long run. Maugan Ra looks like he's gearing up to go for the teleport, which is a natural progression for any game, especially for this game where your opponent is probably going to start to become a little bit more thinly spread. And Vanady has completely paused his land factory production, which is actually a good follow-up to this. A lot of players will just give up on, well, not give up, but they won't recognize that they have lost the push. So he recognizes that there's, maybe he doesn't see them, but he knows that probably there's a good economy from his opponent by now. That engineer unfortunately bites to dust. So he's going to pause his factory. He's going to try to catch up economically, and probably going to try to rush to megas. There's not even a radar for Vanady right now. That's quite unfortunate. How many energy generators? There's only 2 energy generators for Vanady also, which is maybe why he's being stalled on building this radar, because radars at the end of the day don't cost that much. I think they're only like 75. No, I think they're around 100 mass. These adapters are not doing much. They should really be covering the base here. It's very difficult to attack from different directions on this map. So even though Vanady does have quite a bit more units, maybe more so at the beginning of the game, he couldn't have done that because of these planes over here that were just covering everything. He tried to do it. He tried to push down the center. I think if he pushed down the center with the army that he had, because he did have quite a bit of units here in the center, he might have done a 2-prong attack, and that would have worked out quite a bit, because at that point, Maugan Ra did not have that many tanks, which now that looks so scary. These units have shields on them now, so Maugan Ra is taking a more safe but longer way to get to teleport. I think that just confirms that he's going for teleport, and this is going to be very difficult for Vanady to stop, because he's gone these adapters. It's going to be difficult to have enough firepower to counter this many units. I think Maugan Ra is going to try to push here. Vanady does have a shield on his factory. Those Brackmen are going to do enough work here to stall Maugan Ra a little bit, but there's not enough of them to ultimately do a lot of damage, and unfortunately I think there's just not enough direct fire. The shield is going to do enough to stop this army for a little bit. His shots don't do a bad job connecting with Maugan Ra's forces, but still the vast majority of tanks retaining their shields, and Maugan Ra is going to back off. He most likely realizes that he does have the advantage to this game, so he's going to pull back and probably just wait until teleport, which is completely reasonable. This army does not do well when it's split off. Completely does not do well when it's split off. So that end game is looking very good for Maugan Ra. There's no expand off of this. Maugan Ra continues to retain his mass advantage, and now there are units falling rapidly for Vanady. And I don't think a single tank has fallen so far. Mobile missile launchers coming out as well. Not the best of choices, given that there's adapters. I think if I was Maugan, I would probably just continue going with tanks, or maybe go even Shajas. I think Shajas would be much better in this situation. But I mean, they do their job. There's something that they have to worry about, and this air is now going to come in. There's a lot of adapter shields. I'm not sure about this bombing run. It's going to get a little bit of damage, but he loses a couple of planes in the process, so that was not worth it. And like I said, if I was Maugan, I would just completely go into teleport. Like I said, this army does not do anything against the late game teleporting army such as of this composition, of any composition really from Aeon, because they don't have that many utility units. All of Aeon's units are extremely strong against land. The only utility unit that they have is the Bada Boom, and that is not built in significant quantities. I think players usually build like 2 or 3 of them. Yeah, that air is going to go for another run. I'm not sure what Maugan Ra is doing, and that just gives research points to his opponent. Vanady is actually doing a pretty good job building land factories. There's now 7 to Maugan's 6, and I may have called this game a little too early. I apologize. I should be more passive. Like, yeah, that was not a good call by me, so I apologize. There's still a chance for Vanady if he gets a good shot of, you know, of these Brackmen. There's always a chance when that happens, but unfortunately, this teleport, which is completely prepared with energy, is just going to hit so quickly here. And even though there's a possibility of structure detonate from the Cybern, it's properly microed, which both of these guys have shown in the past 2 games that they're more than capable of microing their units very well. Shah just now making their way out on the field, and oh my god, this is where Maugan Ra shines. His army, ground armies with Shajas are just incredible. So going to be very difficult for Vanady to pull this one out, especially because he's so far back on economy at this point. There's very little he can do. That engineer is going to fall down, so that radar is going to be denied. And Maugan is... Oh, he does have a radar back here. Okay, so that's fine. Good split fire by Maugan Ra. Taking out those 2 units before they had any chance of taking out that mass extractor. You know, there's a lot of land factories coming out for Vanady, but again, I'm having a very hard time seeing how he manages to win this fight in the long term. So even PD is being built. Maugan Ra covering all of his bases defensively and offensively. If this does go south, Maugan Ra will most likely, as we've seen him do before, get some shield generators on up here, and that's just going to allow him to survive. So that's not going to be an issue. He's even expanding the front of this war down to the top. And now the Shajas are coming into play, going to help with those adapter shields. Those Brackman fire are going to start to connect. And actually getting decent shots here. Managing to take out a lot of Maugan's tanks. Trading fairly decently. Because, I don't know why, but Maugan Ra decided... I mean, I know why. Decided to split... Oh my goodness! Carnage! Oh my god! Wow, that was a lot of ground forces going out for Maugan Ra. And that's exactly what I'm saying. Is if Vanady continues to trade like this, he might actually work his way back. That's what he needs, absolutely needs. Maugan Ra recognizes that he lost that fight quite a bit. I'm going to plop down some more land factories, which he should have been doing earlier, and really harassing with his air. Again, this air should not be sitting here. Vanady should not be pushing into this. He really should use that advantage that he just got to try and get to megaliths. Connecting with units still somehow. That air is going to try to come in, but the adapter shields regenerate. There is a connection, but not managing to take anything out, and a lot of air from Vanady or from Maugan Ra is going to end up going down. Vanady is just getting so many research points, but he does not have any research stations, so that is Again, this would look good if Vanady was, you know, a couple of mass extractors behind, but at this point he's down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, at least 9 mass extractors. All of air for Maugan Ra goes down though. So miss-microing there quite a bit. That PD is just so hard to push. Maugan Ra, like I said, covering all his bases here. Building off quite a bit more land factories, and that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12. Going to go up to 12. Vanady is going to be on 9 here. Yeah, the one thing that I think Vanady could do here is maybe try to fight closer to his side so he can reclaim some of this mass. But now there's units making their way over here. Vanady, do you have a radar anywhere here? You have a radar here. I don't think it's going to be enough to see. You've done such a great job maintaining map awareness, and look at that. I called this. Going shield generators right here. Man. Doesn't even need teleport, honestly. I think, yeah, Vanady finally sees this. Gonna try and counter it, but that's taking away units from this fight. And again, I don't think I would be pushing at this point. Like, I mean, your opponent has gone shield generators. So at this point, I feel like as a Cybern, you have so many tools. You've avoided a little bit of that teleport, although he probably still has the teleport. Let's be real here, which I think he just used it. So teleport here in the center too. Vanady trying to expand now, but I think it's just a little too late here. That factory actually does end up going down. But this push in the center is actually quite a bit scary here. Let's see if Vanady, there's a teleport coming out. Yeah, and this army was just slowly dwindling, and that's there's nothing but Brackman in that composition too. Good game by Vanady. Good series of matches. It's such a shame to see it end so hopelessly for him. I mean, this game was basically decided with the opening builds. Just so difficult to play. Of course, this map was not being played in the regular season, so neither one of these players might have prepared it, but it is open palms after all. Vanady is going to try. I mean, this is tournament. This is a tournament game technically, so he's going to try and save it as best as he can, but this is really looking hopeless at this point. Everything is going down for Vanady, and Vanady, if you're watching this, you've played a terrific game, man. You've given us a really entertaining set of games, and even this one was fairly close. But Vanady does end up going down here. So, I mean, I can't say anything else that I haven't said about this series. I think it was very great to watch. Maugan Ra once again advances to the final of the playoffs, and we're going to have our semifinal match number 1. Technically, it's confusing how that happens, right? But since Fox Tremelin did get that first seed, technically that's the semifinal 1. We are going to have that for you on Sunday. Hopefully Spiff will join me for that. And yeah, that's going to be a great game as well. He's going to be playing a Soul Ripper, so Fox Tremelin versus Soul Ripper. Great set of matches expected there as well. And of course, Game Replays tournament tomorrow. I'm going to be casting. I'm not quite sure which games exactly I'm going to be casting, but all of that is going to be coming your way fairly shortly. So I want to thank everybody for watching this, especially a lot of people have been watching this live, but for those of you on YouTube as well, thank you very much for watching me. Please subscribe to my channel. I'm hoping to get 100 subscribers on my YouTube channel by the end of this month, which should be totally doable because we have so many events happening. But spread the word about the tournaments, join the league. The next league will be starting up in August most likely, or most definitely. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions about that. And of course, as always, have an amazing day.